You may know that RSP contributions don't have to be claimed in the same tax year that you make them. In fact, planning your deductions can be a powerful strategy when you anticipate income changes, such as a career change, parental leave, and of course, retirement. Joining us now is Georgia Swan, tax and estate planner at TD Wealth, to unpack how RSP deduction timing can support major life moments. Georgia, always great to see you.
Good to see you again.
This is a pretty fascinating topic for people who are like, I feel like I sort of knew, but I sort of didn't know, so I want to dig into this. A lot of benefits with RRSPs. Planning contributions and deductions, pretty important. Walk me through all this.
So absolutely, RSPs are a great thing because basically they incentivize all of us to plan for our own retirement. And when you make that contribution, you get the deduction. And most of us don't realize that you don't have to take the deduction in the year that you contribute. And there's a lot of benefit sometimes to delaying that recognition of that deduction to a future year's taxable income.
Okay, so let's talk through some of those benefits, some scenarios. When would it make sense for me when I'm doing my taxes to say, I made these contributions this year, maybe I don't want to claim them this year?
So let's think about whether maybe next year you think you're going to get a raise, or you are going to get a raise, or maybe you found out this year that you got a bonus, but it's not going to be paid until next year. Or if you're a younger person and you're in an apprenticeship or training program, and once you become licensed, your income is going to go up. Those are some classic opportunities when you might want to defer the recognition of that deduction to that later year when you're going to be making more income.
What about I'm planning a little career pause? I need to take a little time back. What do we start talking about then?
So again, if you're taking a career pause and you're not going to be making that much money in that year, but maybe you've got a little savings and can still make that contribution, that's another opportunity to basically defer that deduction until a future year. The other opportunity is, let's say you can use your RSP if you're going to, let's say, go back to school. So there's the lifelong learning plan that you can basically remove some money from that RSP and use it for that plan.
Let's talk about people who are either legally married, common law. You see that little thing, spousal RRSP all the time. I think some people don't fully understand that, even if maybe they are, in a committed relationship. What about the tax advantages here?
So most of us, when we're thinking about our RSP contributions, have really a narrow view. We're thinking about what do we have to put aside today in order to pay less tax this year. But what I want people to do, especially with spousal contributions, is take a step back and look at the lifetime of you and your spouse. So for example, let's say you have a spouse that's going to make a lower income than you, or let's say you have the benefit of a pension, but your spouse doesn't. Look ahead to your retirement years and consider if your spouse is generally going to make less income in those years, that might be an opportunity for you to take the deduction by contributing to your spouse's RSP so that the income can be taxed in their hands down the road.
You mentioned retirement there. Let's talk about when RSPs become, people don't think about this until they get close to retirement, right? RSPs eventually become RIFs. The age of 71 is thrown in there. How do you start timing your deductions in light of all that?
So for most people, contributions to RSPs, the general wisdom is that after 60, contributions are not as beneficial. You have less runway for that deferral of tax. But sometimes there is actually a benefit to making kind of a last-ditch contribution just before the conversion to a registered retirement income fund, which is the time when you have to start drawing it. If, for example, in those first couple of years when you are retired, you think maybe you're going to have a bit of a balloon of income then, because again, you can defer that deduction to those years after 71 and that income. So let's say you're going to hang around a little bit to do some consulting work or something like that, or you have an investment that's going to mature. That might be an opportunity where, contrary to popular wisdom, you might want to make a contribution in those final years before it gets converted. Speaking to a financial advisor, investment advisor is really important because there is no one size fits all. You have to balance this, as I said, against future income. Do you have a pension? And then also, When do you convert? Should you convert earlier than 71? Should you wait? When do you take your CPP and your OAS? And also look at situations and circumstances in your life, marriages, babies, taking care of elderly parents. All of these circumstances bring to bear certain factors that have to be balanced when you're deciding to contribute this year, to defer, not to defer, and when to maybe stop contributing to your RSP, because that's another one.
Life is a lot, isn't it, Georgia? I'm so glad that we have you here to help us walk us through these implications.
Thank you.